All right, welcome back to The Count, where we're counting down the major stories of the week. Still Carl Higbee. We're moving on to story number 4, political appointment. Liberal Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer confirming rumors of his plan to retire at the end of the month. He did say that, it wasn't supposed to come out this early, but it did. Now, Breyer's departure isn't creating the political firestorm that vacancies in recent years have, because it will not change the 6-3 conservative majority. So what is controversial about this vacancy is that Joe Biden announced his appointment will be a diversity hire. Listen to this.
The person I will nominate will be someone with extraordinary qualifications, character, experience, and integrity. And that person will be the first black woman ever nominated to the United States Supreme Court.
We just wiped out about 90% of potentially qualified applicants with that single last statement. In any normal world, Biden would have, quit after saying he's going to pick somebody with character, experience, and integrity. But this is just Joe Biden putting diversity over qualifications once again. Joining us now is Thane Rosenbaum, Distinguished University Professor at Touro College. Thane, appreciate you on this. My question here is, why do they have to put diversity down as a qualification every time?
They don't, Carl. Remember, President Trump also promised his base that he would pick a nominee who would overturn Roe v. Wade. So it's not unprecedented. Remember, President Biden didn't have to name any
choice. That's not a race.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying the idea that he's sort of signaling to his base, I'm going to provide something that you're going to like, is not unprecedented. Yes, you're quite right. This is different, and what I would even add to what you're saying is a racial preference case is presently before the Supreme Court. So it seems odd that he would make this an issue, given the fact that the Supreme Court this year will be deciding a racial preference case dealing with Harvard admissions and admissions to the University of North Carolina.
But here's an issue, though, and a lot of people are actually asking this right now is, okay, so he's promised he's going to name a female woman of color. Does a white male who might have been in the running, does anybody have a legal case here against him to say, hey, wait, hold on, you just removed me from a potential running spot, even people who might have had that conversation previously?
Carl, no, I don't think so, but it's an interesting question. By the way, this is the position that Harvard is taking before the Supreme Court. They're saying diversity makes for a better class. And I suspect that President Biden would say diversity on the court makes for better judicial decision making. Remember, elections have consequences. This is his call. And remember also, he knows that he owes his presidency to African Americans that voted for him in South Carolina. You may remember that no one was even talking about him until he won in South Carolina. It was at South Carolina that he started introducing this idea of appointing the first African American woman to the court. And Carl, he never stopped promising. He kept doing it. So I think he boxed himself in, and I think he feels very beholden to Congressman Clyburn in particular, so much so that Clyburn has his own pick that he's suggesting, federal judge Childs in South Carolina. Yeah. So, it is political, and as much as we want this to always appear that it's all about judicial philosophy, it does always have the ring of politics.
I mean, Biden broke just about every other campaign promise, so I mean, he would just be par for the course if he did it again. But this is my thing. Is like and Clarence Thomas came out with a great statement on his thoughts on the Biden process that he went through when he was being confirmed. But take a listen to this from that exchange between Biden and Clarence Thomas. Take a listen.
This is a circus. It's a national disgrace. And from my standpoint, as a black American, as far as I'm concerned, it is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you. You will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured by a committee of the U.S. Senate rather than hung from a tree.
Biden was the chairman of that committee right there. Biden was sitting right at the head of the table looking right at Clarence Thomas during that, and he opposed him vehemently. Was it because of policy or race?
Well, remember what that was about. That was the Anita Hill confirmation, in which case she was accusing Clarence Thomas of sexual harassment. See,
A la Brett Kavanaugh style.
Right, exactly. It's interesting also, Carl, his expression of anger is not dissimilar to what we saw from Kavanaugh, right?
Yeah.
When he came back, he also made a very impassioned speech that this was an unfair process and that politics was intervening in this. So what Biden said in those days was, again, you can call this political. He said, look, I believe women. Remember, we heard the new term of art with Me Too movement, believe women. Well, I guess Biden was an early proponent of that because he basically said, I don't care about your denials. I believe Anita Hill when she says that you sexually harassed her when you were her boss at the EEOC.
Right. But
so that was I don't know what you call that, but that is why he was so opposed to Biden.
But that's that's he says that, but that's the problem. Is that there was never any the investigation didn't go any further. Same with Brett Kavanaugh. There was never charges filed. It was just in the moment. This is the stuff that gets me. Thane Rosenbaum, we appreciate you being here for this.
Anytime, Carl. Thank you.
All right, cool.